Peace. Peace. Now it's to vibrate. Y'all know what it is. Having to redo the video from earlier. We had some technical difficulties. You know, I know some would like to blame it on Mercury, but we ain't gonna blame Mercury for the technical issues. For whatever reason it happened for some reason. So it is what it is. We're here now. What's up, G? Entwining roots back in the thing. Matter of fact, much love to Vancouver. G, getting it. C, GG. But bless. But because it is a different energy from where I left off is there's a lesson in that, what I'm saying, picking up where I left off exactly, what I'm saying. It's a whole different energy, but we're gonna get back to where things were. But what I do want to bring up, and again, what we was talking about was holistic, the whole story or the holistic view of something. I can't find my other little notes. But I did start on speaking on dealing with our energy, being aware of basically taking care of ourselves, what I'm saying? Uh taking those moments to step away from, whatever goods or services that we provide, taking our little moment to, step away, so we could, come back into it full fledged. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I had to realize throughout the growth, and doing this is, taking that little moment to step back, and also, you know, there's a thin line between, like doing videos to show you the authenticity of hey, this is me going through, moment to moment. Sometimes things are real up for me. Sometimes things aren't, uh in that mode. Sometimes I'm dealing with a little something. Sometimes things is, but there's a balance to, presenting videos, depending on your energy. Because I realized, through watching other videos and paying attention to how I feel, that we give off an energetic transfer through our videos. And speaking to videos in particular, you know what I'm saying? Like if I'm doing videos and I'm on point with channeling my information, you know what I'm saying? That video is gonna carry that vibration, and anybody who watches that video, you know, is gonna feel that support, you know what I'm saying, from that energy, compared to a video that, although it may be insightful or helpful, you know what I'm saying, in some way, form, or fashion, due to the information or the timing of it, you know, or should I say the timing of when I'm sharing the information, but the energy I was in probably wasn't the best, you know what I'm saying, and having to be aware of that and holding myself accountable. So, this is why also you don't see me just jumping into things as much as possible. This probably been uh some of my toughest moments through my, spiritual journey, has been as of recent, you know what I'm saying? But it's being aware of that, you know what I'm saying? That's of course with anything you do, but I'm just speaking to the videos and how that resonates through videos. Some of y'all may do some forms of videos or social media, vlogging, blogging, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And, being aware of that energetic transfer that goes through, whatever it is that you're broadcasting, you know what I'm saying? So having to be aware of that. But right now, it's getting to a strong point of, again, getting a full understanding of ourselves. We're starting to see, like how accountable we have to be for the things that we attracted into our experience. There's no more pointing the finger like, oh, it was this person, it was that person. Yeah, that person might be a reflection of a certain energy that may have been distorted or misaligned, but you had to be in that state or had to be a match for that vibration to be attracted. That goes back to the videos you could check out on the whole narcissist vibes and uh, harmonizing or like dealing with your quote unquote inner demons. You know what I'm saying? But that's something that's coming up very strongly. And again, a lot of things is going to be about mental health. Matter of fact, a lot of things been coming up about Jupiter lately. For some reason, I'm just called to share that. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Jupiter just been popping up on the scene. I know Jupiter in connection with the Zeus energy and more so like the electricity energy. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been seeing that a lot in certain shows and movies. You know what I'm saying? It's just this thing about electricity. You know, and again, for the most part, electricity in essence, the masculine energy. That's also a personification of essence our brain synapses and nervous system. And that goes into you know uh, the videos I talked about, with the magnesium and protection. Matter of fact, working with serpentine. Serpentine was said to be protection from witchcraft. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. You know, but in essence, it's like connected to that energy of MK Ultra or what I'm saying, like where strong stimulation of electricity is could also like open your being into being altered in essence. But that doesn't make electricity a quote unquote good or bad thing. And as I'm bringing up that, you know, uh, there's this connection, and I felt moved. We're gonna hide the. Okay, this ain't no commercial, but St. John's wort, St. John's wort, however you want to say it. Uh, I've been called to start working with that again. You know what I'm saying? And there was some information that brought up how St. John's wort could help to be a defense against. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Matter of fact, I think of how the Jamaicans, the roster was said, "Them guppies, them guppy, the guppy, all the guppy them." But the guppies meaning like ghosts or phantoms. You know what I'm saying? Or just any paranormal activity. St. John's wort is known to help with that and to help with quote unquote, you know, demons. And as I say that, that word again gets thrown around very loosely. You know what I'm saying? We talk about, oh, demons, this is a demon, this is a demon, you know what I'm saying? But just for lack of a better word, I just say parasitic energies. A parasitic energy again is that energy that feel like it's disconnected to source, and the only way it could get its own energy is through sucking somebody else's energy. You know what I'm saying? Or it might not even be just a program. It may be, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, biological thing, but I say biological, but metaphysical, you know what I'm saying, in that sense. But, no coincidence, though, that, St. John's wort helps against, again, like that type of paranormal activity, quote unquote, psychic attacks. And it's really known for like helping against, severe depression. Now, with anything, you know what I'm saying, with like taking St. John's wort, you know, it's going to help with the symptoms, but at the end of the day, we do need to get to the root of why we feel in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Especially dealing with depression. I could help, brighten myself up. You know what I'm saying? And sprinkle a little serotonin. You know, You think of Tyrone Biggum. But sprinkle a little serotonin, you know what I'm saying, on the situation. But, it's still like that depression reoccur, even though I'm taking St. John's word, that depression may reoccur if I'm not also getting to the root. Now, I can say, though, again, it's a balance because remember that the physical realm can affect the spiritual realm. So, you can combat again certain spiritual, entities or certain spiritual, beings that, again are parasitic. You could combat those energies, say combat for lack of a better word, but what I'm saying, protect yourself against those energies by doing something physical. You don't have to necessarily see them in the spiritual realm, you know, or, like you don't have to take care of it necessarily. I mean, you can, again, the ideal aspect is to, take care of something in your dreams and your meditations, you know, in the astral planes in some way, form, or fashion. But you could also take care of things by, again, by just your physical actions, through the physical. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, St. John's wort. So that might be something that you may be interested in. You know, and also what I kind of got. Let's see, gotta hide the labels. But Bacopa, and this is it helps with brain health and cognitive abilities. Now, I done brought this one up before, you know what I'm saying? Of course, y'all know Ginkgo biloba. Uh, but, like keeping the brain cognition on point. Because, again, one of the main things that's going to be coming up, you know, uh, is, keeping the mental, the mental capacities on point, as well as emotional. Again, it ain't, yes, everything is, mental, but it's also keeping the emotional body healthy as well. But with the Bacopa and Ginkgo biloba, I also realize again, like when we talk about full understanding, like it's gonna get to a point where we realize, like again, some of these things gonna help, with certain symptoms, and helping certain symptoms will help to, like, transmute the root cause as well. Like it's digging at transmuting the root cause as well, but just understanding, like, again, that we have to get to the root cause of the situation. Because one thing I realized, we're dealing with lesson loops and memory loss. And again, memory loss is more so like, it's not like we hold in our memories as much as it's like access to a cloud. Like your memory is like, sitting in a cloud and you vibrate on a certain frequency to pull it out of that cloud. It's like you turn the radio dial to 1995 when I was in this city. You know what I'm saying? And bam, you pull up whatever memories you need from that, dimension or that part of yourself in this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? But, again, like the energy of memory is, is very key. And as I was bringing up Jupiter, Jupiter is going to be in Aries for, for a little while, at least for this, yeah, it should be for this whole year. I know it's most likely longer, but Aries deals with the mental capacities. Of course, the Mars energy as well, but Aries deals with the head. You know what I'm saying? And Jupiter, you know, uh, creating this expansion. You know what I'm saying? Breaking out of comfort zones. Learning from the experience. Bringing in abundance and prosperity. And that abundance, prosperity, expansion, all that is going to be through, our own mental capabilities and our, own ideas in essence, because Aries is also tapped into being innovative, you know. So, for whatever it's worth, it's going to be some importance to that Jupiter energy, and in essence, again, like helping a lot of us, to create, what it is that we, want to create in alignment with, in alignment with our soul and not just anything, you know what I'm saying, on that level. Yeah, it's like again, understanding the holistic story, because what I realize, something that's gonna change, and the reason why, most of us who do talk on occult perspectives on the truest level possible, most of us have videos that are more than an hour long, and that's because of having to break down, like the paradox of things, you know what I'm saying? Like, like I made the video recently about, facing the devil, but then in the same breath, like always reminding you, like, hey, for whatever devil you had to face, it's also first and foremost, you created whatever situations that brought you to having that experience. So, it's not about blaming anything outside of you as much as it's like, being aware of what I did, like what did I do to put myself in that situation, type of energy. But, like that's going to be coming up a lot right now, you know and to share a little something in connection with psychedelics, I realized, again, because matter of fact, it's my solar return today. You know what I'm saying? Turn 36. Nine energy. You know, and in most cases, on most of my birthdays, I could feel this energy of like, just reflecting on my whole experience. You know what I'm saying? Like and just seeing again like how certain things did connect, how certain things didn't connect, like, you know, the pros and cons of, of this lifetime and, somewhat meditative or should I say somewhat tapping into, the past lifetimes and past timelines, because that's all connected and intertwined in this present moment as well. But one of the things I realized with, taking DMT and how, if I would have knew this would have helped me. It's a balance because I partially, again, I did it for the experience of seeing like, well, let me just do this and see, like what happens in the experience. You know what I'm saying? And I somewhat spoke of this before when I talked about, like trying certain harmful drugs at a certain point, you know, knowing and to see is kind of like an experiment, but also knowing that I could shake back from certain, quote unquote harmful drugs that most was like, like, oh, you could never return from that. Like almost everybody who smoked that or do that, and they brain dead or this and that, you know what I'm saying? But uh, but again, like that thin line. I did another video recently about, like experimentation, you know what I'm saying? Like, like experimenting, but be aware of how you experiment, you know what I'm saying? But with the DMT trip, basically, when you tapping into DMT for the most part, you kind of tapping into, the ancient origins. You're tapping into a part of yourself that is, for the most part, what I'm saying, disconnected from, the human experience for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It's like like pulling the veil and peeling the onion all the way back. And what I realized is without you, like, without, because I didn't have anybody to tell me that detail of, like, hey, like, yeah, there's truth to DMT and what you experience in DMT, but ultimately, you know, in which I knew this, but, I wasn't strong in my awareness of it, you know what I'm saying? And it's the energy of like grounding yourself, like, so of course, again, like without the context of the individual experience, it can cause a delusional energy, what I'm saying, or unrealistic perspective, in the case of like, after having a DMT trip and you realize like, oh shit, everything is interconnected, you know what I'm saying, like I'm connected to this and I'm connected to that, you know what I'm saying. But then you got to also realize again the holistic picture that you're also on the individual experience as well. You know what I'm saying? And again, that comes into the paradox of like, hey, everything is connected, but here's how you protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's and having to, honor and embrace that, what I'm saying? Again, because that's what makes it tough on the path, is having to, balance the idea of parity. But one of the things, again, is with the DMT trips, is like, after taking it, I almost was trying to go into the space of like all the time, like, oh, I am, I am everything. What I'm saying? I'm no thing and everything at the same time. What I'm saying? But again, it's a balance with your individual experience as well. What I'm saying? With your unique experience. So it's like taking what you know, on a collective, holistic, or interconnected perspective, like taking that and bringing it into the individual experience. You know what I'm saying? But basically, balance the collective experience with the individual experience. Because again, it could create a polarity to one side of the picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, it creates the polarity of like, oh, just all in my crown chakra. Everything is all interconnected. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that creates like a stagnancy, and also like a, again, like a distorted experience, due to not being able to move up and down the chakra fields, what I'm saying? And even realizing, that the chakras go, even past, the root and the crown, what I'm saying? Like, there's more energy fields, more nadis, more meridians, and more, quote unquote chakras than, you know, what's traditionally spoken of. For the most part, the whole thing with the seven is kind of connected to the planetary energy in essence, you know, but it goes deeper than that. But again, let me see. There's another point I want to speak on. All right. Yeah, because with that perspective, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, everything interconnected. Everything is all love. Everything is interconnected. You got to understand the balance of love. Love is to, yes, be compassionate. It's to not hold grudges or hate anybody or be on that type of vibe. But then it's also, love in essence starts with self love, and it's like, all right, I got to protect myself, in a sense, again, back to everything interconnected, and it's all love, but I got to protect myself. What I'm saying? Because that's a part of the experience. Like, I'm in the experience where it shows how I'm interconnected to everything, and it has a unique experience, or a subjective, truth to experience, objective truth or collective, and then a subjective or individual, perspective. But again, this little, all is one, without checking it holistically, this could cause danger to your individual experience, because you naively, using the all is one perspective, and you end up putting yourself in situations where somebody can harm you. What I'm saying? Because, oh, like, everything is always peachy, and what I'm saying, I don't have to worry about nothing. And again, it's a balance. Like, yes, you want to promote, you know, the optimism that everything will work out for you, and what I'm saying, like promoting that energy of how powerful you are and how you're gonna be able to, like work through certain things, but it's also being aware, like, to be discerning, you know. So like, yeah, it's all love and I'm interconnected, but feel the energies of, the different, you know, different situations or experiences I attract, and first and foremost, being aware of my own vibration when I'm attracting certain energies, and feeling things too. What I'm saying? Hence why, again, like, uh, in which part of the helpful part of the extreme energy, was that it was meant for me to deliver some messages when I think of like how extreme I was on like tapping into metaphysics, in the sense of like, it's like, man, almost like, again, like you kind of come into that energy of like, man, scrap the laptops and the cell phones, man, just get into nature. What I'm saying? We all at some point need to stop using our phones and this and that. And again, a lot of that is true. What I'm saying? We don't want to put a secondary technology over the primary technology, which is internal. You know what I'm saying? Again, like the perspective of and not even somewhere like the perspective of the movie Dune. You know what I'm saying? Where instead of like external dust, though, you know what I'm saying, you got your internal dust. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I forgot what they called it again on the movie Doom, but basically, again, you could interdimensionally travel from where you at. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of fell off. But you get what I'm saying. It's having that holistic view of things. Is very important. And again, the extreme vice versa of the all is one perspective is the vice versa is causing danger to the collective experience because of naively using I am just an individual, using that perspective. So you cause harm to your ability to be a multidimensional being and limit yourself to only incarnating in an individual experience. Let me say that again. Again, you either could be in the all is one perspective, you know what I'm saying? And you in that extreme, so you end up harming your individual experience, and that could cause trauma in the sense of like you traumatize yourself on the individual level, and you end up like feeling like you need to reincarnate to learn how to not do that next time you know and on the flip side, on the other extreme, you could be so much in your individual perspective, that you harm the multidimensional aspect of yourself, or you limit yourself to only incarnate in an individual experience. You know what I'm saying? Or again, you're so about self, so about the individual that you cause harm to other, because you're only looking out for yourself in essence. And it's just that strong energy, of communing, creating like an ecosystem, again, being the change we want to see instead of like just talking about it, you know, important thing I came across today. I remember, much love to the artist La Russell, L.A. Russell, I love Russell, what I'm saying, from the Oakland area, Vallejo area. And much love to him just breaking down the rap game on that level, you know what I'm saying, and seeing how again it all don't have to be just metaphysical knowledge, you know what I'm saying. It's knowledge on all levels to help you not be tricked, you know what I'm saying, because although it's not a metaphysical discussion with some of the things, although he could take it there, you know what I'm saying, it's not a metaphysical discussion, but it's still helping. Again, you start to see how the simple, again, physical aspects again work on the spirit realm, you know what I'm saying. But he was speaking on uh the energy of not just telling brethren, like, hey, you need to stop selling drugs, you know what I'm saying, like it's not cool to sell drugs, you know what I'm saying. And that energy, again, because we're constantly being asked to grow and change, and it's that energy, you know for what I realize, it's like you do have to, like, all right, if I got a problem with this, then I need to be implementing the changes in this area. So it was like, instead of like constantly like putting it in your music, like, oh, brethren, you need to do this and you need to better your life and stop selling drugs and this and that, which that message time, ain't nothing wrong with that message, in the music. But then on also though, I want to be creating and taking actions that do something to facilitate those brethren or sisters, you know, to pull themselves from out of that lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? Because again, that's why again, for me, just the plain and simple fact of just wanting to be able to help. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is a worldwide thing, but it's also goes to my neighborhood too. I value, again, and that's the balance, like, like multi-dimensional being, but then I'm also, you know, doing things for that people could tap into in the neighborhood I come from and things of this nature. You know what I'm saying? And also for brethren and sisters who may be quote unquote locked up in the system. You know what I'm saying? Because that system ain't just locking up. Oh, these people are just straight up criminals. A lot of people that's locked up is locked up for little simple shit. And again, if we and again, being the change I want to see is like promoting the understanding of the subconscious mind, promoting the understanding that you can heal yourself without prescription. You know what I'm saying? You got little herbs and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like to be able to do this, you can. Again, you don't want to be, uh, foolishly optimistic about like again, like when you visualize stuff, it does take action as well. But it's like the importance of visualization. You know what I'm saying? Because that that's gonna be coming up a lot for us in our own little circles and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like just understanding the power of you know the group or the community or the ecosystem of the soul fam, and like if all of us focused on a certain thing, how that empowers it even more, because again, a lot of shit is set up for us to still separate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I can still have little petty beefs, and that's something also that's coming up, is to to really like relinquish that shit. Like 2023, it's gonna be for sure. Like again, like just a lot of harsh truths coming up. Like it's gonna be you know near impossible to deny, like what we've been doing to ourselves, energetically, and and having to realize like what we got to do to change stuff, and realizing like you can't just talk about it, you got to be about it. Like it ain't gonna be like just no, what I'm saying. Like again, for some of us, talking is a part of what we do. You know what I'm saying? Like like again, how I made the video about your 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 bite is your bark in some cases. You know what I'm saying? In the sense of like, some of us are in the field of, doing podcasts or, put media out there and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's definitely gonna be about action. Like I could talk about all this good shit, but what am I doing? How am I connecting with my community and stuff like that? And that's where the healing come in, because most cases, like when I see myself like you know, reintegrate myself after like traumatic experiences. It's like, damn, if I would just leave this alone, like yeah, I would, end up with trust, you know, still having trust issues and not being able to connect with the community. And you start to see like, damn, that's how this shit'll be, you know, like how we get thrown off, you know. And as I say, we get thrown off, another thing, eliminating that shit of like, oh, well, you know, like if anything, matter of fact, sitting on this campus at Rice, and I did that video about, the Kennedy thing and, the Molak thing with the owl. That's just for awareness purposes. That's not to be out here like, and again, to each his own on what levels of growth we're at. You know what I'm saying? Again, this message is not for somebody who's like new to things and they kind of still into like they, even though I feel like things are just kind of like, it's like, well, we need to, break out of that as soon as possible. But even still, you know, a lot of people have to go through each step of that transformation to kind of see, like, all right, they go from the whole they doing this, they doing that thing, to like realizing, like, shit, you know, it's all me in essence. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, again, it's all me, but I have to be aware of how to operate as an individual aspect. Again, like if I was to, like put myself to sleep and go into my own subconscious mind, it's a different ball game. Because again, even though I'm interconnected to everything in my subconscious mind, I went into my subconscious mind as an individual. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna come with the territory. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to be able to maneuver not only as a multidimensional being, but also as an individual as well. You know what I'm saying? And again, and that's what I was getting at with the whole, with the Instagram post, how I was starting the other video. You know what I'm saying? Where I was talking about like, uh, in which again, with anything and everything, a person or anybody just have to have that understanding for themselves. They just got to know better. Like, hey, it's a holistic view and not one side. But I think of again, like how we should tell things or speak on things holistically. You know what I'm saying? Like where again, this post was talking about people. Much love to the people who realize their energy is off, so they keep themselves, away from go and connect with others because they know the energy off. And it's like, all right, yeah, that's one side of the story though. You know what I'm saying? Like that is important if you're a little going through a little turbulence and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? Not to kind of jump in on somebody's project they working on or something of that nature when you kind of dealing with something. But then at the same time though, again, that's not the end all be all situation in a sense, but again, there are moments when you are like your energy is a little off, but you do need to connect with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just go off into that, extreme lone wolf, extreme by yourself, extreme isolation energy, then that could become, a problem as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's like again, like seeing the holistic scope of of the situation. You know what I'm saying? And bringing it in full circle. Because again, it's like yeah, I'm not the color black, and it ain't just about my melanin, but that is a part of my unique individual experience that I have a melanated body, and just by default, I'm gonna do things that help quote unquote melanated communities. But it's again though, it's like again individual experience. So yeah, from my neighborhood and my quote unquote hood that I come up in. You know what I'm saying? From Louisiana to America to, again, to the whole world, you know what I'm saying? And each of us are working on different levels. So it doesn't necessarily mean, you have to, you know, like I put like this, if you gotta sit and overthink about like how to help or impact the world, then maybe it's meant for you to just kind of be more locally. Again, like that quote, think cosmically but act locally. You know what I'm saying? Like balance that energy out. Who that is? That brethren Rick Levine, the astrologist. So he brought up that the whole think cosmically, act locally. But yeah, that's definitely coming up. You know, again, forgiving. You know, Capricorns. Uh, a lot of us, and it's say Capricorn, but the Capricorn energy. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely having to work through the energy of dealing with dealing with finances, because that's another thing too. Like realizing, because I even laugh at myself with the with the donations and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like like yeah, it's cool to what I'm saying, receive donations and stuff, and then some points ask because I done been through a stage of like suffering in silence and being quiet when I should be screaming for help, but I'm just like suffering or not. Excuse my word, magic. In the past, I have been, what I'm saying. I've been working on that, so it ain't no longer a present thing. But like suffering in silence, so it's like like yeah, like ask for help. You know what I'm saying? Because again, there is this energy, of like like I'm source on a human experience, or I'm God on the human experience, I'm a multi-dimensional being, like yes, you do want to affirm and tap into your power and not be no victim or no weakling out here in these streets. But then at the same time, it's like, but fuck, if you Now is the vibrate. If my now moment consists of me kind of needing some fucking help, you know what I'm saying? Then, you know, and again, trial and error. I done needed some help and then tried to thug it by myself, quote unquote, thug it by myself, you know what I'm saying? And like try to fix all the shit by myself. And it didn't really, like I kind of end up back in square one because it's like, it, you did a little bit of something for that moment, but you still end up fatiguing yourself and end up causing the energy of like having to go back through that cycle, you know. So it's like, don't be afraid to ask for help. And again, like we are, going to commune and tap in a lot more, you know what I'm saying? Again, like creating our metaphysical ecosystem, in essence, because, that's why I'm creating my Discord server, you know, it's like tapping into energy. What's up, everybody? Monkfish, Sarah the Seraph, West Combs, Tory, Indigo, Break Every Chain. You say, you look 22. What's your secret? Being present, working meditation, like meditation, and particularly, uh, pranayama breathing, with meditation, you know what I'm saying? That's breathing in and out the nostrils, only using the nostrils, and again, inhaling, taking the air into the stomach and then exhaling and bringing the stomach in, you know what I'm saying? That's important because it's not the opposite, you know what I'm saying? Which they have breaths that do the opposite, but, again, pranayama breathing, the meditation, started to eat healthier, being present though. I feel like out of most things, like again, that cause stress, because I even think of like why some crystals, working with some crystals promotes like I think a Mookite jasper. You know what I'm saying? Is known for helping people to look younger or to stay looking young. But it's from the perspective of helping you to be present. And that's when I realized to go deeper into like looking at crystals and stuff like that because you get like just the I don't want to say superficial characteristic of the crystal, but you kind of get like the I don't know, like the end part without knowing how you got there in essence, like, all right, but why? How does this help with, my youth and stuff like that? But again, it's like being present and, working on, I ain't working on just making sure that, again, eliminating stress in any way, form, or fashion. Of course, we got healthy stress. I ain't say eliminating stress, but I guess like eliminating constant toxic stress. Because again, this growth gonna come with some form of toughness to it. And that go another paradoxical situation there. Like hey, you're not meant to like suffer and like push and work hard and stuff like that. But then in the same sentence, like, hey, spiritual path and awaken may be tough. It may be, what I'm saying? But, if both are true, what I'm saying? It's not just one, that's again, whenever we trying to play duck season, rabbit season, this one better, this one ain't, that's when things kind of get, distorted for us, and again like staying consistent in our spiritual practices because one thing I realized and this also connects to the trickster energy too, the toxic aspect of the trickster energy of again like jumping from one thing to another, like not finishing certain things. And this also speaks to the energy of just being in this realm where we then got used to dealing with our phones and stuff. Again, like that's a subtle subconscious programming for instant results. But again, it's like kind of staying consistent, you know because I realized like how easy it is for me to write down, my intentions or certain goals, or should I say just certain intentions or certain plans, you know, and then almost like I could see the mind trying to drift and go everywhere. It's like, man, well, bring it back, you know, and having to create a habit out of it, you know, because that's where resilience come in, where you see like if you're a person where you're constantly, you know, you like the type of energy might have that Pisces type of energy. You could constantly just daydream and go off into another space with it, you know. But then just as long as you constantly bring yourself back, and making a habit to, like focus and follow through. But again, to each his own. Everybody is different at how you're gonna uniquely express your energy in this realm. Because if you more tapped into that Pisces energy, but you surrounded by people who you can trust, and they do most of the hands-on work while you do most of the like the dreaming. And I say that like they don't dream, but like you do most of the the imaginative dreaming, coming up with the visualization, what I'm saying, and it works like that, what I'm saying, compared to like if kind of in those beginning stages where you mostly doing things on your own, and then you keep drifting and drifting. It's like kind of bring yourself back into that focus. You know, also remember the importance of the decoding things. Seeing how it's right quick. Hermes, Hermaphrodite, Kundalini balance. But again, like how the story is told through etymology and through, gematria or gematria, or where I'm at. See, you see, like this represent like the Kundalini, you know, and you got 6 points, wait, 6 points within the body, because again, the seventh chakra technically is not in our body, but you got the six chakras in the body. Then you got the three pathways, which is the Ida, the Pingala, and the Sushumna, which is the positive and the negative, and then in essence, like the neutral or middle way. You know what I'm saying? Going up. I know my fingers kind of off because it's reflecting different, but and again, three channels. The Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna times the 6 points equals 18 or 9. You know what I'm saying? Seeing how again, like, because also with the trickster energy on a positive level, trickster helps to create, or spark the process of individuation, or the process of like, of integrating yourself. You know what I'm saying? But you see the Fox, like a Fox News, a lot of people first thing might come up. They playing on that energy. That's a 9 energy. Trickster, 6 energy. And then like try like TRI, but I did TRY because in essence, in most ancient texts, and I think of Hebrew with Yod, what I'm saying, being like an I in essence. So like Y in most cases, act like an I, and you break it down from that perspective, you get 9. And then to be whole, what I'm saying, 9, and then wholeness, it's 3. But it's like again that whole 369 connection. And again, like tapping in with this type of insight, you know, for our benefit, for practical uses. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's you know, quote unquote, naming you know, our goods and service, our quote unquote business, you know what I'm saying, what it is we do, being aware of the gematria and what the numbers come out to, as practical ways that you could, so it's not just like, hey, I know that. Did you know, brother? You know, that Fox is 666 and it equals nine, and nine is the, you know, like I promise you, it's great to know that, you know what I'm saying, that knowledge, you know what I'm saying, but it's like, how can I apply that shit to my, to my everyday? And I could laugh at it and joke about it because I've been there in some way for my fashion, you know what I'm saying, where it's like, oh, it's cool to just have the information, you know what I'm saying? Like at this point now, I only kind of like express things, even though it may not be practical in essence. If it's like some insight where I feel like it's pretty fresh that most people don't bring up, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say like nothing technically new, but just again, like I was one of the first beings to kind of bring it from the cloud into the physical, you know what I'm saying? Then I kind of like express the insight and may not, in essence, even working on that, you know what I'm saying? Like being aware of like, all right, how does this have some practical application, and again, with anything, like, bringing up solutions, you know, like if I tell you, then you know, like I just come up on here and be like, hey, there's a monster, and all of y'all have a monster in your closet, and just stop the video, you know. It's like, well, no, like if you telling me you exposing that I got a monster in my closet, well, then how to deal with that monster that's in my closet, you know what I'm saying? You know, spirituality ain't cupcakes and unicorns, but I ain't gonna tell you how to deal with that part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, no, I gotta, the ideal perspective, and I do my best to bring this up, point these things out more so from a space of holding myself accountable. Because one thing that I'm not like that kind of feel a little funny to me is like, how sometimes it's almost like these little spiritual gangs are like, it's like, oh, if you don't do spirituality like this. So, in other words, like as if I was to say, like, well, if you're not bringing up solutions, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost kind of like trying to shame or guilt trip somebody into it instead of just saying, like, hey, this is the truth. You know what I'm saying? And, if we do want to be, holistically true about what we're sharing and stuff like this, and then maybe this the way to tap into it or share, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like the whole, like, and to each his own, because because some of that, is just everybody's own way of expressing things, you know what I'm saying? Like some people have a harder shell to the way they express things, I come from a space, again, where I'm not one to kind of like I could come off as passive because I'm not like always giving a message like all like with a to it. Sometimes I have those moments, but it's like, with my the Capricorn energy and the perspective of being practical, and where I come from a hood where, some of the brethren who had the most gold teeth, tats, some of the loudest in certain areas are like, like, I'll do this, I'll do that. You know, they lost fights to some of the most quiet, some of the most, what I'm saying, people who didn't even look like they were about that life, what I'm saying? Because that was a terminology, oh, he wasn't built like that, or, what I'm saying? It's like, man, a person don't always have to, what I'm saying, show a certain type of energy to be about that business when it's time to be about that business, you know what I'm saying? Because I do see it as like that's my thing. Like holistically, I just rather just be ready for the shit. I ain't gonna try to like like I'm I just need to be ready. As practically, I just need to be ready whenever it calls for me to do whatever I need to do in those, in that Mars energy, that martial arts energy. And I say it has to be physical fights or anything, but you know what I'm saying. because sometimes it do come points where energies, you're not necessarily battling against them, but you're more so having to match that energy. You know what I'm saying? Again, like if you're feeling like parasitic or toxic energy to like bring you down, on a certain level, then you got to match, that level or surpass that level of, that energy trying to bring you down. You got to surpass it with the energy to bring yourself up with just as much tenacity as that, parasitic energy trying to, dampen things in that sense. And I say parasitic energy is, it's all part of what you done allowed, with yourself. But most definitely, I forgot to say straight Panther in his house. What's up, my brother? Say you tapping in with the Gregorian calendar. Yep, yep. Cause I saw somebody say New Year's, and I didn't really get on it. You know what I'm saying? But like, yeah, this is still reflection time for me. You know what I'm saying? And it's double the reflection with my birthday. It's like it's super like kind of go inward. And just doing a lot of planning because that's another thing. So as I brought up the whole DMT thing and the, getting into the energy of like, oh, everything is, like I am sourced on a human experience. And again, you kind of going into it from the perspective of like being ungrounded and, almost forgetting about the individual experience. But dang, I had something I was gonna bring into that. It's talking about the Gregorian calendar, tapping in with the spring energy. Dang, it'll come to me. But I'm gonna take a little drink of water. We're gonna soon be closing this video out anyway. It's Aisha. Peace, peace. Much love to all the fam. As always, it always feel good to see the fam, the familiar family energies being felt in the live videos. So speaking of, energy transfer through videos, all that's felt, what I'm saying? The way I show up, the way y'all show up in the videos, you know what I'm saying? That all is connected. I think I done shared pretty much everything. Holistic story. Again, 2023, no one to blame. And again, like having to uh, fully heal these traumas that's causing, the back and forth of the duck season, rabbit season, or this is good, this is bad, you know what I'm saying? Like having to fully, transmute that. Because that's another thing too, and I'm mad and I brought that up. And lastly, because again, like dealing with attachments, you know what I'm saying? Like again, a lot of us gonna be realizing how much we may still be holding on to certain things and having to, detach from certain energies and remember, matter of fact, I did a little Kevin Gates post, where he's talking about like I release you with love, you know what I'm saying? But in a part of it, he said it in the sense of like, uh, like you are hindering me, like I need to detach from you because you are hindering me. And I get the gist of it because he kind of cleaned it up with the second part, but it's not that individual as much as it's your own self and what you allow, like how you allowed yourself to attach to certain people, places, and things. It all goes back to you. You know what I'm saying? It's not nobody else. But the seriousness, like of like having to like do our work, you know what I'm saying, or or do the work, because sometimes work sounds like a harsh thing, but because our manifestation interference due to attachments, you know, that shit is real, and I've seen it be very, very aggravating. You know what I'm saying? To know that you doing the work and you're doing certain things, but you could still sense that attachment to something is like, like you could feel the fucking everything you've been asking for, like just about to pop into your experience, but it won't pop until you fucking fully, you know what I'm saying, detach from certain shit. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It's like, 'cause if all that pop off and you still got this attachment, that shit gonna malfunction or run out. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna run out, or things will go in disarray. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll just be in again like the same state of being with just abundance or more things. You know what I'm saying? Again, which end up running dry due to still having that connection. So I on a deeper level, I do appreciate and see why certain things are held back. So as much as we might feel or want to complain, well, you don't want to complain. As much as you might like sense or feel like, damn, this should be the manifested by now. Or I like really feel like I deserve this or I should have this right now. On a deeper level, it's like it's just protection, because you want a lot of these things that you looking for to manifest. you know you would rather have it when you're energetically clear of certain things. That way you could efficiently and how you say optimize, or efficiently, let's say efficiently, tap in with that energy. You know what I'm saying? All right, I'll answer this because matter of fact, let's see what we're at. Yeah. So I saw some of those parallel next on your IG channel. Oh yeah, definitely. It again comes natural, and then just having to tap into well, again, like realizing like to push myself to try new things with doing the artwork, but then also just kind of like just do it at my own pace, because it can get way more intricate than the way I'm doing it. But it's like that. You know, that ain't meant for me to go that deep into it. And I would say that deep into it, but I still like creating like the my little twine designs and stuff like that. This one I just did a black kyanite and obsidian piece. And again, remember I'm doing a birthday sale today. Everything is 36% off. So definitely message me if you want to tap in. Latoria Indigo, you asked how important is environment in your opinion? Uh, Environment is it's very key. It's like for me, it's like understanding, like like again, like inner world, outer world. Now, in like in some cases, like if I'm gonna break it down from different perspectives, but like if I'm selling, sand, let's just say, what I'm saying, then it would be ideal, like if I'm selling sand, that I should go to a place that doesn't have a bunch of sand already. You know what I'm saying? So environment plays a part in that perspective, and And with any and all things that I speak on this channel, some of y'all are already aware of that, but there's parables and layers to this. So as I'm saying sand and, you know, and all this other words and other things could be substituted for, for these words, you know what I'm saying? But and then, like it's like, yeah, you want to be in an environment that supports, what you're doing. What always would strike me as an alarm is if I'm in an environment where most people are, you know, instead of like ready to hear out what I got planned and what I'm doing and how I'm gonna execute, if they like more on some vibes of like trying to suggest different things to me, I'm like, all right, that ain't in alignment, or I'm only around these people, places, and things because because I'm in a state where I'm not, strong in my willpower about what it is that I want to do. So it's showing as a manifestation of people suggesting shit. You know what I'm saying? There's not no knock to them or they not being bad, because that's where you get lost in the sauce right there. Like, oh, they must be demons because they suggesting shit. And I know I don't want to. It's like, no, you know what I'm saying? Be aware that's you that manifested that situation in the first place. So you got to do what you got to do internally to be in a space where instead of people constantly. And again, there are like healthy suggestions in the sense of like, what I mean is like, they got suggestions that, like, hey, like suggestions that help you with your what you're already doing. But then they got like suggestions like, hey, maybe you should go join the circus, or maybe you should like, man, what the fuck? Like, all right, check my check my compass. You know what I'm saying? Because this person talking about joining a circus, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, environment with that, or again, like you becoming more aware to stay, positive about what you're doing, than an environment that is negative towards that won't, be best suited for you. And again, you choose the environment that is best for you in your now moment, you know what I'm saying? And having to understand ourselves, what do we truly value, you know what I'm saying? It be shit that we truly value, but we may still be running on a subconscious programming of chasing the glamorous life or some type of shit like that, to where you know we chasing this environment when really the environment that may not be as glamorous may be the fucking, very highly effective and, and truly deep down inside valuable to you. You know what I'm saying? Again, though, is awareness of self. All right, we about to soon cut this thing short. But yeah, definitely wanted to answer that. All right, yeah, there was a difference in my vibe compared to Cali to, from Louisiana to Cali. I feel like Cali had, it was like, because of being tapped in energetically, I end up connecting with some beings that kind of, was a reflection of me, staying stable in my awareness and to not get caught up in the whole LA vibe of like, oh, I'm gotta do this, or I gotta, project this or do that, you know what I'm saying? Like, not get caught up in that LA vibe. But, you know, I can say that that energy, existed a little more for me, you know what I'm saying? Where I realized like in certain areas where it was like, again, that energy of like recognition, that solar energy in essence, because again, whether it's manufactured or not, there's a lot of sunlight in Cali, and on a mineral level, you got a lot of gold under your feet. So metaphysically, you got the sun and gold. That's just a lot of solar plexus energy, and the solar plexus, you know, it has its healthy aspects and being confident, outgoing, creative. You know what I'm saying? Healthy ego and stuff like that. But then you got the toxic ego or toxic pride, or you know what I'm saying? You got that perspective. For me, you know, I value both of those experiences, and again, like the difference in the vibe with Louisiana, it was more of a grounded approach. Things were a little slower but sturdier, more more Cancerian energy. Matter of fact, 'cause we got this full moon coming up in Cancer. More Cancerian energy of like having that stable home space. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's something that was very key. Again, things were a little bit slower and move a little bit thicker. You know what I'm saying? Should be like thick gumbo gravy. You know what I'm saying? Because I think of the difference of like how I would want to smoke, like when I was still smoking a lot. Smoking like backwoods. Like I would have to, almost like it felt like I have to smoke backwoods whenever I was back in Louisiana. Where in Cali, it felt like I, should smoke a little lighter. You know what I'm saying? Or if I smoke backwoods or heavier in Cali, kind of like almost kind of felt like off, like I was slowing myself down. You know what I'm saying? But again, with both places, I realized like it's no good or bad, right or wrong to either. You know what I'm saying? That because again, you got to be aware of yourself. It ain't the city, because even you realize too. I realized that a city or a state, like a state of being, has a egregor or has like a like a being to itself. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, don't blame the being of that city. Don't blame the egregor of Louisiana or the Gregor for California for the shit you've been, you know what I'm saying? Like it's you, and knowing how to interface with that energy, you know what I'm saying, is very important. Just a reminder, also, I'll be posting it this weekend. Matter of fact, tomorrow, but I don't know if it's going to get posted tomorrow, but I'll be doing a video with the Brethren EG, Shaman Troops. OG is the name of his channel. Be doing a video with him tomorrow. Uh, what was the discussion in the video for tomorrow? Oh, how purpose pays the bills and yearning for your true self. So we're gonna tap in with that. But again, it won't be live. It's gonna be recorded and posted. You know what I'm saying? But just to let y'all know that that is coming up soon. But appreciate y'all tapping in. Yeah, and then also, dang, I don't. All right, I think I got enough time. Because also, you could do the geographical thing. What's a cool way to? Uh, I was shown with astrology, like to show the energy that you be in, or like the energy. Because again, I realized like you're tapped into different energies depending on. Because again, it's different dimensions. Again, this is a physical perspective of multi-dimensional realm. So although we just say, "Oh, that's just a city," that's California there, and it's still different worlds, different dimensions. You know what I'm saying? In so many ways, but you could take your natal chart and say, for instance, like my natal chart has me born in Louisiana, in a certain area. But then if you're trying to figure out like how your energies are going to be expressed or how they show up when you're in a different, state that may be, in a further enough different, quote unquote time zone, or different, further enough different uh, longitude line or latitude, but longitude more importantly, you know, then there'll be a different energy to it. Like so say for instance, like still do 1987, like the year I was born and stuff like that, but then put the place of birth like as California, you know what I'm saying, in a certain city, and that'll give me like a perspective of how my energies are, or how more so in essence how you could say how you should how your energies. I just say how your energies show up in that area. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be a little different from, again, obviously from your birth chart if it's under Louisiana, but that's a good way. So if you're about to like make some type of move or something like that, you won't, again, you don't want to analyze things too much because I realize one of the important things that that sometimes you got to make the move before you see everything. Like, you know, you're not gonna know every detail before making a move, you know what I'm saying? So have that in your awareness. But you know what I'm saying? If it's not gonna cause analysis paralysis, it could be helpful to, again, if you're about to move to a certain area, do that with your natal chart where instead of like your actual birthplace, put in the space that you plan on moving to and seeing how your energies kind of connect are gonna play out in that area. You know what I'm saying? But again, that's without the analysis paralysis. Entwining roots there, I mean, because it's mostly swamp and water, in Louisiana, there ain't too much mining. I would say, if anything, you probably could get some petrified wood, possibly, you know, and I know of ferry crosses or starlight kind of showing up like but that's more so in the Mississippi River up north, so I take that back. You know, it's the land moves too much, you know what I'm saying, and it's very like soft, in Louisiana, so there aren't really many any minerals that I know of. Now right next door, like in Texas, they got a few mines. They got different mines out here. I think of I forgot the name of that crystal. But yeah, they definitely got mines in Texas, but Louisiana is like, all right. I'm not familiar with the Ross Al Haig 777. I'm not familiar with the terminology for it. Again, sometimes I'd be explaining stuff and don't have the literal, weights on that. But yeah, the battery is letting me know it's about to close. So yeah, appreciate running it with y'all. Y'all know what it is. Again, donation links is underneath all of the videos. If you want to tap in with the jury, send me a message on my Epic Lifestyles page on Instagram. Stay present, amplify your ability to feel things out and not just go off of what you see with your two eyes. You know what I'm saying? Love yourself, be compassionate, stay safe but dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Uh, but yeah, man, greatly appreciate building with y'all. And again, in another moment, we're gonna tap in. But peace, y'all know what it is. Not too far in the future, not too far in the past. Right now, y'all have a great and wonderful day, y'all self. Much love. Appreciate y'all. Greatly appreciate y'all, man.